Welcome, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Taking Up Space, a Michelle A. Mayer podcast. I probably should put the air on, but I'm not. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to tough it out because I'm sitting up under a vent, and when I do these podcasts, I like to have the air like on full blast on me, and that's what makes my nose run a lot of times if I'm not crying or something like that. But I decided today I wasn't going to do that. I'm trying to stop myself from doing that because I think I'm using that as a crutch too much. But nonetheless, how are you guys doing today? I have a really interesting conversation that I want to share with you today. This is a conversation for all the nationalities of the world. I was in the bathroom doing my hair yesterday, and so I get when I do my hair, I spend a lot of time doing it, and I get the time to watch videos that I normally wouldn't watch, or that if I did watch them, I wouldn't watch them consecutively. So I got some time yesterday to view what's going on amongst the people. What are people posting and what's the content like? And I was very surprised. Honestly, I was very surprised at what I saw yesterday. And not to really make this podcast about what I saw yesterday, I would like to make this podcast more so about my perception. And my perception is really based upon my own objective, my own perspective. Obviously, it's my own walk that I've had, because I've had a monumental walk, y'all. And I'd like to bless you with this perspective today. And I'm going to lead with Genesis chapter 3. And I'm going to read from Genesis chapter 3, one verse, and that is verse 20. And it is, and Adam gave names to all cattle. And Adam gave names to all cattle. Everything that you consider cattle, Adam named it. And to the fowl of the air, all the birds, every bird that you see, Adam named them. And to every beast of the field, every beast, Adam brought them forward, inspected them, and named them. But for Adam, there was not found a helpmeet for him. And Adam doing what he was created to do. I'm going to get into this as to why I say he's doing what he was created to do. He found himself the Lone Ranger in doing so. You see, Adam is out in the environment. He's paying attention to his environment. In order for you to come upon something and name it, friend, and for God to respect you in doing so, you must have inspected that thing. You see, to name something means to put a label on it, to be able to come to an understanding of the fullness of it, and then to be able to stamp a title on it, to categorize it, to create a link between that perspective, that idea, that integral aspect that you see in it and it. That's what naming is. Adam is in the world, and he is busying himself with paying attention to what is going on in the world. And in him doing so, he inspects all the players in this world that is with him. He's the only man. There's no one else besides him. So all he has to interact with are the animals. He's inspecting what they're doing. He's seeing how they move and what they do when they move and how they interact with one another. And he's judging them objectively in a righteous way. He's observing them. And out of his judgments, his righteous judgments, and out of his observations, he is able to come to a conclusion and name it. I'll read it again. And Adam gave names to all cattle, every single thing. He observed every single thing and named it. And to the fowl of the air, observed every single bird and named it. To every beast of the field, every single beast and named it. But for Adam, there was not found a helpmeet for him. He's the only one able to do this. For the Bible to convey that Adam did not have an adequate helpmeet was not a sexual innuendo saying, well, Adam has now passed this new leg of the journey. Okay, he doesn't have any ability to find any comfort. It didn't say that. It says, but for Adam, there was not found an adequate helpmeet for him. There was no one else to help him name and observe, to hold accountable. He's doing everything by himself. We got a twofold situation going on right here. I'm going somewhere with this. One is that Adam does rise to the occasion and stand in his creation. And he begins to act upon his creation without being micromanaged to do so. He takes it upon himself to interact within his environment. And he holds himself up in a kingly manner, an executive position, a leadership role. He doesn't befriend the animals. He doesn't look at them and say, I don't want to do what my spirit is telling me to, and that is to categorize you and to name you and to really to state what I think of your actions. I don't want to hurt your feelings. So I'm not going to do that. I'd rather be your friend. Adam doesn't do that. He doesn't deny the flow of spiritual water in him. He allows himself to move in the method in which he was created to move. He does by nature what he was created to do. He observes the vastness of this kingdom, and he observes every little detail of it. He names everything, y'all. And in order to do that, the Bible is conveying the level of focus he had, the level of interest he showed, and what was going on around him. He's not paying attention to the wind and naming the wind. He can't see the wind. He's paying attention to those dynamics that are at play, causing change in his environment. That's what he's doing. And God says, you're trending. You're doing exactly what you were created to do. I love this. This is what I created you to do. You're standing in your purpose. You're not bowing and cowering down to the wills and the desires of other things. You're not impeding the flow of my spiritual water in you to fit in to comfortability. You're not trying to make the deer and the bulls and the lions and the foxes and the dogs and the cats like you. You are upholding yourself to a level of integrity that has nothing to do with likability, even though it does. It's not offensive, but you standing in it and owning it even though one would prefer you not to do it, you owning it in the right spirit takes away any offense. They got to respect it. It's a respectable attribute. It's honorable. You're moving honorably as a king because you are king. The only disintegrous thing that could come about is if you did not do this. You will fall short. And those that view you and that respect you in your honorability by naming them would then not respect you. They would know that they could overcome you. They would know that they could manipulate you because they know within their spirit that you've fallen short. They see the weakness in your transgression and they understand why you did it without you ever having to say the whys. This is the beauty of God's system. I brought this scripture up because it is synonymous with what we were created to do. I don't care what region of the world you're in. I don't want to go down the laundry list of ethnicities as I always do. But you know what I'm talking about. I don't care where you are. You were created to name. You were created to stand in your sovereignty and to convey what you see in the world around you. That is your creation. There is nothing disintegrous about that. The only disintegrous thing in that is if you do so out of an unrighteous spirit, malice. But if you allow the flow of spiritual water to flow from you in truth, there is no disintegrity in that. Adam and Eve will go into the world and their primary goal is to observe and to name. I spoke to the Bible study Sunday service about how in second Baruch, it's the passing of the baton, in a sense. That's what's being conveyed there. Out with the old, in with the new. How in second Baruch, God is showing the people that there is a transition in power. It goes from the Hebraic house to the Gentile nations. And how this was already in place. God had established this from the beginning. And even if you didn't get the memo, it was going to happen regardless. You'd just be surprised. You being surprised doesn't stop anything. You're just surprised. The show goes on. And in second Baruch, God passes the baton over to the Gentile nations. And the Israelites would inadvertently be led to step back from the physical dominance in the earth. They had already done that. They had already made a tremendous name for themselves by way of God. And now the baton is passed to the Gentile nations, and they, through the Israelites, would come to know God. Yeah. In second Baruch, it speaks to this in chapter 1. And I will scatter this people among the nations, that they may do good to the nations. This is the purpose of them being scattered. It is to fulfill a promise that God said all along through the Abrahamic covenant, that through all nations will be blessed because of these people. Through these people, all nations will be blessed. It's an accountability protocol. It tempers the jealousy. God would know that he would lead these people monumentally and that it would cause a huge rift. There would be a lot of jealousy going on amongst those that were not included in this system. You see, there are other spirits in this realm that are outside of those in the Abrahamic covenant. There are other spirits outside of those that were on the boat with Noah. I think we forget this. When the Bible speaks to the Gentile nations, who are the Gentiles? Who's the Gentiles? Oh, okay, they're the people outside of the Abrahamic covenant. Okay, but who exactly is that? Where do they come from? Noah had a son named Japheth, and Japheth would be somewhat the father of the Gentile nations. And all these things would be prophetic things that would come to pass. When Esau and Jacob had their rift, and Esau fell short because he's moving in a disintegrous spirit, looking to stand within the kingdom of God. He's thinking, okay, I want to be like Nimrod. I want to be a mighty man. I'm a hunter. I know I'm next up. But just like anybody that thinks that they're just going to inherit something without working for it, he had the wrong spirit. And this is what most people don't get. It's you can have the right idea, but you got the wrong spirit. It won't work. This is a holistic system. Friend, whenever you see someone walking in the truth and the alignment of God, you must know that it is not an idea-based protocol only. The idea, the thought process does not get you the blessings of the Holy Spirit. No. It is a multifold scenario, all happening and terminating off of one another within the right doses at the right time. And when this happens, then you are granted supernatural gifts that you yourself can't even convey because you yourself don't know the totality of them. This is the covering of the Holy Spirit. This is that thing that I keep telling you that David spoke so highly of. So you have multiple spirits in this realm. Old spirits, younger spirits. Spirits that are younger but have an old spirit. Friend, I can remember when I was a young girl. I can't tell you how many times people would tell me I had an old soul. People would come to me and they would begin to tell me that, and I would say it before they finished it. I heard it so much. You got an old soul. Old folk. I never understood it. But I heard it so often, it just was okay. And I laugh with them. There are many spirits in this realm. Hi, Artemis. There are many, many spirits in this realm. Yet all spirits in this realm are not born of a woman. They are not a part of God's original creation for this realm. Remember what I said. They are not a part of God's original creation for this realm. I didn't say that God did not create them. I didn't say that. For this realm. But through transgressions, multiple transgressions, because when Adam and Eve were approached by the devil in the garden, that was just one transgression. That was just the domino that got the whole chain of events going. That wasn't the final straw. That was the first thing that opened the door to a multitude of other things. The putting a dog in a fight that they never had a part in. That is the predominant meat of that situation. That was birthed from that. Cain was birthed. Cain would not have come about had Eve not had this interaction with the devil in the garden. Surely there was information given as well. She ate of the tree. She gave to her husband. And then she's impregnated by this devil. But then chapters later we see these entities showing themselves again. So this was a multifold rollout, where when one moved in a particular way, others heard of it and they all began to come. So getting back to the main focus, the Gentile nations. Who are the Gentiles? If they are not Adam and Eve's descendants, well, they are, but they're not. Let's blame it on Wikipedia. I looked it up. So they consider the Gentile nations Goyim. I did something on the Goyim earlier this year, or latter part of last year. The Goyim are soulless beings. They are entities that were created. They were made of clay, and they were forged in vessels. I don't need to get into the scientific aspect of it because I myself don't really know the truth of that. But it is said that they were made as you would make anything. You put them in jars and they grow and grow, and you take them out and they do other things with them. These beings were made, man-made beings. Goyim. Google it. All you got to do is do a basic Google search on who the Goyim are or who the Gentiles are. And all of this will show itself. Soulless beings. Irregardless to how they were made, the bottom line is they were created. They did not have a soul. Their creators could create a vessel, a physical vessel that looked like me and you, but it does not have the sun. It does not have the spiritual component, the life force. They could not breathe the breath of God in it as God did in him creating us. They are an imposter to us. They are man or fallen angel or whatever looking to do what God did. Again, all these things that we see around us are the extent to which we can create. We can go no further in creating than that which has already been created. It is not like we can sit and think of a thought that God has not already allowed for us to think of. It is not as if we can pull from the thought bank of some vast etheric realm that God has not already established for us. We are in a controlled, firewalled, environment. So the Goyim is created. And they don't have a soul. They don't have karma. In simplest terms, they don't they're born with a clean slate of karma each time they are born. This is vitally important. Because what we find is after the transgression of Adam and Eve in the garden, it would be extremely difficult for Adam and Eve. The debt that they felt that they had to incur. And it was just the beginning of this debt that they would incur. You see, Adam and Eve would be driven forth from the garden in skins, and they would have to work out the knowledge that they were given. They knew too much and had very little experience. So now the knowledge is burdensome. They are bound to mistakes. Bound, hand and foot. There's no way that they're not going to make vital mistakes. It's inevitable. And so lifetime after lifetime, they come and they go and they make all of these terrible decisions. Whereas the righteous component that was terminating within them to do righteous at all times has now been convoluted and obstructed. They have choices. I don't have to do the right thing. I could allow my emotions to control me, and I have no one to tell me why I shouldn't do that. I need to learn from ground zero why I don't do that, and it will take lifetimes. You can imagine what it was like on this place, on this planet, in that mindset. No database of experience to pull from to know what the effects of your decisions are. You're just out here rogue, just doing stuff, learning as you go. So these goyim, someone comes with the idea of creating these goyim. There's many reasons why they say they created these goyim. They created them as a worker species because some of the gods didn't want to do a lot of work, and so they wanted the worker species. Whatever the reason was, they created the goyim. But the goyim had one aspect that was advantageous to someone that had a heavy karmic debt to pay. And that is that they did not have a karmic debt. They didn't suffer such problems. You see, this karmic debt would be a twofold negative to the children. They're already out here working their way through difficulties because the world is plagued with wickedness now. Everyone is they know too much. They have all of these creations that they're using for war. They don't have enough experience behind them to be able to determine what they should and shouldn't do. There's no ethical code going on. They're still working that out. And as they're working that out, they can really find no peace because while they're creating more negative experiences, while they're living life, they're attracting more negative experiences by way of karmic debt that they're constantly moving through. It's just negativity all the way through. So you could imagine how these goyim would be attractive to someone discombobulated and burdened down with such travesties as this. And what they would do was they would begin mating with these goyim. They would take on the mantle of the fallen ones in their philosophy of mating with Eve. Like I said, nothing is new under the sun. They're regurgitating all old experiences and they're being creative in them because it's all they have. So what they saw the fallen ones do to Eve and putting a dog in a fight that was never theirs, they're bound to the curses and the experiences of such, and they want to come from up under it. But the more they move through life, the more negative experiences they incur, and they're constantly feeling the brunt of the karma. They're locked in a cycle. It's just Ouroboros snake eating its tail to the max. No one can convince me that an Ouroboros symbol is not a chaotic symbol. The only time a snake eats its tail is when it's in distress. It's out of its element. That is what was going on. And they began to ponder, how do I get out of this? We got these goyim. We can go into these goyim. Just as devils go into pigs. Just as serpents go into Eve. We can go into these goyim. If we go into these goyim, do we relinquish our karmic debt and born again anew into this new vessel with a new slate? Is this goyim somewhat like the goat that we get to throw all of our burdens on and let them wander into the desert? Nonetheless, the Gentile nation would be formed fundamentally through goyim, soulless beings. Fundamentally, that is who they are. So when we see Esau, like I was saying, who was next up, and he knew it. He's kicking back, eating grapes. He's doing the minimal thing in life because he knows by default, I'm the next in line. I don't have to work hard. I don't have to do anything. God said it is going to happen, and I'm just waiting. And because he's a courageous man, he has all the attributes that he would need to fill the role. He's courageous. He's not fearful. He's strong and mighty. But he's got the wrong spirit. He goes and he takes the throne in the wrong spirit. It does not render him the reward in the manner in which he expected. And long story short, he sells everything to his brother out of fear to be done with it, to avoid retribution for his actions. Like most people do. When the heat gets on you, are you still strong and mighty? Or do you run like Esau did? Sell everything off to the one you thought was weak all along, but was really, really strong. You sell it to Jacob. And then when you see Jacob being blessed and he's moved on with his life and he's moving forward and even you have hope because you know that Jacob can't really do much with your promise. You see, when you approach things in the wrong spirit, you approach everything in the wrong spirit. That's why Jacob made sure he got everything in writing from Esau. The spirit that led Esau to move on Nimrod the way he did is the same spirit that Jacob knew would show itself when it came time to capitalize on this promise. He would act like he didn't know anything about it. He's a liar. He'll lie his way out of it. If he has to, it's nothing. It's the easiest thing I'll do is lie. I mean, I unalived the giant in the wrong spirit. He's a man of God. I unalived one of God's anointed and thought nothing of it. Do you not think I would lie to you? And Jacob and Rebekah do something that Esau never expected. Things will line up in a way that Esau never expected. Friend, things will line up in your enemy's path in a way that they never expected. Esau thought, okay, I'm going to set Jacob up to take the fall for this, potentially. They ever come looking, Jacob has all these goods and Jacob is going to take the fall for it. But I'm going to make Jacob think that he's benefiting just so I can get out of this. Because it's never really going to work anyway, because I'm going to get my father's blessing. And that's really what's going to seal the deal. But never did he think for a moment that things would line up in a way that he would not even get that. God would do it. The supernatural forces working in the invisible ordained it. And Jacob himself wouldn't even know. Yet when it all came about, Jacob would need to act. Jacob would be told what to do, and all he would do would be to do it. He wouldn't concoct the scenario. He wouldn't plot it. He wouldn't envision it, will it into existence. He would just be in the right place at the right time and willing to act. And when this happened, Esau is angry with Jacob, even though Jacob didn't do it. Jacob had nothing to do with it outside of following the direction of his mother. People will be angry with you for you allowing God to use you, for you following the will of God instead of doing what they want you to do. And because he's angry, he goes and he now wants to rebel against the entire structure, showing, legitimizing God not being able to use him all along. This is the primary reason why God had to move him out of the way. He was bound to be a problem. He goes and he mates with the Canaanites because his parents didn't want him to. His parents didn't want him to do it because God had told them not to let Jacob, neither Esau, do it. Don't mate with the Canaanites. Don't mate within this region. He goes, he does exactly the opposite. Now he has a group of people, a mighty group of people, because he's blessed. God can't stop the abundance from flowing. It'll just flow in the wrong direction. What they would say about the children of Esau is that they could not unite. They were a bunch of disintegrous people. They had no honor for one another. They didn't take care of each other. Every man and woman for themselves. They do each other in. They allow others to come upon them and do their brethren and sister in all kinds of ways. This is what they say. And they would eventually, long story short, mate with the Gentiles. And in them mating with the Gentiles, something that God told them not to do, they would lose themselves. They would ostracize themselves from the body of God, from their group of people, and go and move into a region far away and begin mating with these people. And in them mating with the people, they would lose themselves. They would disinherit themselves from the covenant. Same way with the tribe of Dan. Lose themselves in the people. You see, it's a difference from losing yourself in the people by way of what the tribe of Dan and by way of what the tribe of, what Esau's descendants did. You see, when God scattered the children to the nations, they didn't lose themselves in the nations. God said specifically in Second Baruch chapter 1, I will scatter this people among the nations that they may do good to the nations. But Esau moved in the wrong spirit. There could be no good that will follow him. So in him moving into this new nation of people that God prohibited him to move into, he now is swallowed up by those people. He has no defenses against them. Whereas when God scatters the children amongst the nations are blessed by these people. The people are insulated. How? By the Holy Spirit of God. It follows them wherever they go. So this is how the Gentile nations have come about. Gentile nations are here. They're ever prevalent. What God is saying in 2nd Baruch is, I will use you, Israelites, to be a light unto this nation of people. Because eventually all will come full circle. You see, these soulless beings, these goyim that did not have any karma, they would, through time, begin to accrue karma. Through time, through multiplicity, through mating amongst beings that had souls, they would capture a soul eventually. That goyim nature would somewhat be siphoned out, and the predominant nature of the vessel that had the Spirit of God in it would be more pronounced. But they would fundamentally still have that aspect to them. And these would be the people that God would allow to see the light of his goodness. Not directly like the children of Israel, but indirectly like they were speaking to in the New Testament by baptism and faith. They would have to build up this force of knowing that is innately within the children. They would have to build it up technically, manually, from the ground up through baptism and faith, through desire. Whereas for the children of Israel, it's always with them. It comes innate within them at birth. For the Gentiles, it is acquired and it is managed and it is strengthened and it is grown through dedication and such. Where am I going? What we find when we look in Scripture, especially the curses of what happened during the episode of the devil, Adam and Eve in the garden, and the fallout behind that, God cursing everybody, is that there would be a curse of eating Adam's dust. The children of Israel, the Hebraic house, are sprinkled all across the planet. They are a blessing, a gift to the planet. There's no one particular look to these people. These are 12 monumental tribes. 12 independent nations. all independent yet cohesively a group of people bound to one man, Abram. Branches of a mighty tree. And these nations that these people will be scattered amongst, the people of the nations, these Gentile nations of people, would be enamored by these people. And the struggle that the people will have throughout the entire Old Testament would be getting beyond the illusions that these Gentile nations are so excellent at casting. They're masters at illusion. The illusionary aspect that the Phoenicians had mastered had been siphoned off and sold to the other nations. Pageantry, beautification, making something look like it's not. Completely a 360-degree alteration of what you really look like. Illusions. These people, the children of Israel, will forsake what they knew internally. Follow me here. I'm going somewhere, y'all. They will forsake what they knew internally for the illusion. They were that enamored by the illusion. It wasn't just the illusion. They are now bound. They are now spellbound. They are spellbound by not only the illusion is the outward projection of the spell. The illusion is the thing that captures your attention so that the spell can move through you. Just as Moses was in the wilderness and he saw the bush that was burning but it wasn't being consumed, he was spellbound in a sense by the strangeness of it. It caught his attention and it would not let it go. And the time that it had his attention was time enough for it to lock in on Moses and keep him there. It is the same thing that these nations do, not these nations, but those do that understand this science. It is the science of the Hebrews. How do I know that? Did not God do this same thing with Moses? God did the same thing when he showed himself to Moses. He used this same technique. And this is what I'm trying to tell you all. All these tricks are not new. They're regurgitating tricks of the Hebrew house. The Gentiles and those thereof, not all the Gentiles, but there are some that use these tricks to lock in on the children with the greatest gifts. There are those that know the gifts of your house better than you. And they're using your gifts against you in your face. They are using your gifts against you in your face and dragging you while they do it. Come on, Leroy. I want to go over here today. Come on. I'm going to go over here today. I need you to come go with me today because you legitimize me. I want to go over here today. I think I'm going to go over there after we finish here. And yeah, come on, let's go. Got to get up this hill. Just dragging you right along. You legitimize them. Why? I will scatter this people among the nations that they may do good to the nations. They don't honor you. Oh my goodness. At first they do. At first they honor you, friend. But then once they feel as if they do like they did with the Goyim, once they do like the devil did to Eve, they drop you quickly. They take that mask off, friend. They'll take that mask off in the most audacious way on you and show you exactly how they feel about you. They'll leave you right there in the dust with nothing. And they won't even let you move on. They don't want you to go anywhere further than them. They want you to stay right there in that dust. You don't ever go any further than there. Because they constantly need to do like the Midianites. They need to siphon off of you. I need everything you got. I've already procreated with you. I got another you back there. I got a couple of yous. Now I'm legitimized. I'm on deck. You put me on. I got that. I'm no longer a Goyim. So I don't have to be as appealing and as appeasing to you as I once was. Because I've gotten what I want. I'm on deck. You put me on. Without you, I would not have been on. And now I'm going to show you how I truly feel about you. Friends, I'm here to tell you a lot of times the problems that you have in a sense regarding these situations have to do with naming. It goes back to what I said of what Adam was doing in the garden. And God loved it about Adam doing it. Adam named all the beasts and all the fowls and all the cattle. He's doing what he is created to do within his category. And then God says he needs a helpmeet. And he created woman to do the same thing with Adam. This is their creation. But these Goyim, they don't want to be named. They want to perpetrate like they're not that. And the only one that will see them a lot of times are the women, the daughters of Zion. They see them clear as day. You see, because in the creation, it is the men that protect and that enact. But it is the woman that dominates in spirit. And this is a deeply spiritual situation. You are dealing with illusions. You are dealing with spirits that don't want to be seen. You're not dealing with physicality, outward expressions. You're dealing with intangibles, subtleties, her domain. And they are using her mother's stuff. Who else would be able to see it but her? But if she can get you enamored with the outward projection, with the lie, if she can get you fascinated with the curves, the smoke in the mirror, you will never see the game. You will not ever see it. And you will defend it, even though it's destroying you. It's destroying you right in your face. She's dragging you. Come on. Tyrone, I want to go up to here. I know you don't feel like it, but I got 4 more stops and then I might go home. So let's go up this hill real quick. Just dragging you. Just dragging you. Take you for everything you got. You will not leave whole. Guaranteed. The daughters see it. And the daughters see it. And she knows the daughter sees it. Let me do this. We're not going to play today. I don't care. No illusions. I took the filter off. The daughter see it, and she knows the daughter sees it. And she will attack, or let's just say that, they will attack the daughters through the men. Because they know the men they have bound by the spell. But you cannot bind the daughters with the spell. She see you. And you know she sees you. What do I mean by illusion? Like just there, I had a filter on. You take the filter off, no illusion. This is just it. This is who I am. But in life, there are a lot of filters like that people have on. You know what I mean? Like regular people. It's a lot of regular people that might just have $10 in the bank. Not have any elaborate makeup. Not have an extraordinary physical fitness regimen. May not have a chef or someone to feed them all kinds of meals. May not have a plastic surgeon. May not have never had plastic surgery in their whole life. Just regular people. What you see is what you get, people. It is what it is. But then you got all kinds of people, and this is no shade against plastic surgery because I think you do whatever you want to do. If you feel like you can and you have it like that, go for it. But what I'm trying to convey to you is a divide in perception and reality. And that how in today's age, perception and reality are completely obscured, especially through social media. Your reality is whatever you want it to be nowadays. There is no real truth in it outside of whatever you like to create for yourself, because there's no one to really fact check, because everybody is caught up in the illusion. Everybody's caught up in the initial projection and they go no further than that. And that's a very dangerous place. It's a very dangerous place. Because we live in a world that is driven by illusion. Completely almost. Driven by the facade of what it looks like. Smoke and mirrors. And the illusion a lot of times is less quality than what the reality is. You could see someone without any makeup or that has never had plastic surgery. But when you put them next to someone that has, and not saying that plastic surgery or makeup is bad, I'm not saying that at all. But when you put them against someone else and you say, oh, look at this. Look at the distinct difference with this. Are we basing it off of illusion or truth? Because that person could have had a whole total makeover. They probably don't even look like who they really are. Because you have no point of reference as to who they really are. You don't even know. And you're making permanent decisions. You're basing permanent decisions on illusions. Somebody please help me understand. Somebody please help me speak this the way it's in me. Yet a lot of times the daughters are more beautiful in their natural state with less, a $10 dress on, a hairdo they did themselves, some Walgreens makeup, and some Vaseline on their lips. Friend. And in today's age, we are in a state nowadays where those that propagate these illusions will attack these people and project them. Look at them. Look how they are. Look how, oh, they're such a failure. Oh, they're this, oh, they're that. But the reality of it is, this is the part you got to get. The reality of it is they're nowhere near that. Jacket nowhere near fits. Champions of your house. Waging war with them in a way that they're handling them. When Elijah was attacked by whatever spirit hit him when he was on that mountain, because it wasn't Jezebel, nobody knew what Elijah was dealing with. I'm willing to bet it was more than one spirit on Elijah. That's how these spirits move, friend. They'll hit you all kind of ways. And this is what made it so monumental for Elijah. Is that the tremendous level of attack he was under. That's what drove him to put his head between his knees. But anyone looking at that without having experienced such things, or without having the knowledge that even things like that are possible, would discredit Elijah and say that Elijah was not worthy. He's this, he's that. When nothing could be furthest from the truth. This is what's going on. Through illusion, these people will betray their own house. The great ones that came before them in their house representing them, they will betray for lies and deception. People that are destroying your house, leaving your house empty. You got a whole line of people that these individuals have left in their wake One after the next, after the next, after the next, after the next. I'm just being honest. Let's look at it like this. When you look at the Holocaust, you see the horrendous acts that happen. Horrendous. I'm talking about nightmarish. Literally. And you look at the people now, regardless of how you feel about the Jews, I'm not involved in that conversation. I want you to be objective in this. You look at the safeguards and the defenses that they put up after that to protect themselves, to protect their women and children. Friend, you can say whatever you want to about anybody in this world, but you come against a Jewish person. Tell me if I'm lying. It's going to be hell and high water to pay. Am I telling the truth or not? It's to the point that people are offended behind this. And they say, well, why do they get to do this? And then who do they think they are? That's one way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it is saying, what an integral way of doing things. They don't play about one another. You're not going to come over and disregard anyone from their group amongst them and get away with it. Where is the shame in that? God himself will honor that. Regardless to right or wrong, whether the person being brought up and discussed is right or if the person being brought up and discussed is wrong, they will get back home or get back together as a community and straighten each other out. But they're not going to let you do it. Where's the disintegrity here? Where? These are the fundamental things. I'm not taking it any further than that. Just that aspect of protecting your group, your line. Loving yours. Anything outside of that, you are taking on the mantle of the children of Esau. You are out here letting people do whatever they want to amongst your women, your children, your brethren, your sister. There's no level of accountability. There's no level of safeguard. Where? Anybody can come and turn you. And they do. All they got to do is have a couple of dollars. A couple of dollars is all it takes. You could come up amongst people that have cast illusions amongst you and drug all of your men through the dirt in your face. In your face. And say it. Call it what it is. Do what Adam did. Name it. You will sit up and watch these people attack the daughters for doing what God said for them to do. The honorable thing. There's nothing dishonorable about it. Nothing untruthful. And you will say, well, they're just a hater. They're hating on her. No. When do we acknowledge? When do we acknowledge? If no one sees it, it is the daughters that see it. In slavery times, when we couldn't even read a Bible, we couldn't get caught with a Bible. It was the daughters that were the healers. Well, weren't they? They were the medicine women. They were the ones you went to fix the ailments in spirit. They were the ones to be able to see spirit move and pinpoint it and give you direction as to how to overcome it. That's how it is. It has not changed. Oh, prayer. Yet nowadays, we let these people do just like they did during Gideon's time. The Midianites and the Amalekites and the children of the east, you let them come and camp out and siphon and take. You let them. And then you let them stay and siphon and take when they could just go on and leave and let people pick up the pieces that they've destroyed. You sit with them and let them sit and siphon. And God said no. God said no, y'all. God said no. God said, I see all of this. And my children have been spellbound for long enough by this spell that is of their own house. Yet I got daughters that see this, that can temper this. Those spells don't work on the daughters, friend. That's why they need you to be their strong arm. The spells don't work on the daughters. Friend, did I not tell you you come from a mighty house? I am here to remind you. Even if I got to stand in the authority and the representation of this house by myself, I'm okay. Because guess what? It's mine too. It's my house. It's ours, but it's mine. No. This is the word. She has a pattern. When I say she, I'm speaking to the feminine entity, this spirit. She has a pattern. And she's judged by her pattern. A long line of discarded people. Long line of them. Thrown away. Siphoned. And thrown away. Yet you defend her and you defame your own. You're lost in the illusion. You're lost in the spell. You are mesmerized and spellbound. And some of y'all suffering from Michelle derangement syndrome because you're mesmerized and lost in the spell. You're spellbound. God loves you, friend. I just come forth to remind you. You know why? Because I love you. And regardless to what tribe you are, what nation of the tribe you reside, I love you. I have no lies for you. I don't have no lies for you. And at the end of the day, it will be the fact that the truth is somewhat subjective. Just like good and bad is somewhat subjective. I mean, it is and it isn't. But it is in a sense. Because what is truth unless you know the original source? This is what makes it subjective. If I'm sold on a truth, but it's really a half-truth, and I'm sold on that truth, and have met that truth within a righteous spirit, it holds some power. But it doesn't hold the fullness of the power that it would hold if I had the fullness of that truth tempered with that same righteous spirit. This is what I mean by subjective. So we don't worry so much about truth as we move in the spirit of intention. You see, when you cannot find the truth of a thing, like myself, I can't trace the truth of everything. I can't read people's minds in that way. But I can have the Holy Spirit measure the intention. That is measurable. Intention. What is your intention overall? What is the overall intention? And that is the part. Because the truth is subjective in a sense. But intention is not. You can trace intention. And you can actually get to the truth by reverse engineering intention. You see, intention is doused, is full of the truth of a thing, the essence, the energy. Truth has an energy. Fear has an energy. Lies, they come with certain energies. When intention is pure and righteous, there is much truth there. When intention is full of lies, deception, smoke and mirrors, there is much untruth there. There's much lies. Truth will stand in front of a lie regardless, and it will not change. It is what it is. But the dominant energies will tell you what it is. If the energies that are dominant are fearful, underhanded, malicious, and full of lies, there's not a lot of truth there, friend. That's what I'm trying to get at. That's the part. It's not a lot of truth there. Because truth does not rest within the abundance of those energies. It just doesn't. Not the fullness of it. So you know a thing by its fruit. This is my word for you today. Get to a place where you begin to see beyond the spell. And the daughters of Zion said no. They shake their head at you. How do you use my science? Friend. So we've talked about how they have taken over, how the children have somewhat taken on the mantle of Esau, in the sense that they don't stand with one another in that way because of the spell. The spell is so heavy. It's sleepwalking. Patterns. How you're judged by patterns. It's fair to judge people from patterns. I encourage you to do that. Start looking at the patterns. Goyim. And how they will go into these goyim and multiply themselves. And how they will eventually share in the religious life and the inheritance of Israel. That's spoken to. You can Google it. It is said that the goyim would eventually share the inheritance of Israel. This is what they want. They want to share the inheritance of the Hebrews. That's why they multiply. They feel as if they've been made great. They've been solidified and legitimized. Friend, my word for you today. Love yourselves. I love you. And I mean it. And I come forth because I love you. Peace and love.